My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Transport Fever 2. We're starting the episode sat outside our newly constructed station at southwest Calgary as one of our newly minted DART trains, quote unquote, pulls onto platform to pick up and hopefully drop off a load of passengers. As we can see, the station is quite full, which is pleasing to see. Say it's only been in service for a matter of weeks, so if that trend continues, then we should be looking at a fairly profitable line running between all the various suburbs of Calgary. Now, if you cast your mind back to the previous episode, you may remember I had a hell of a time trying to figure out how to connect into northwest Calgary in terms of where the station could go and how the tracks would actually connect in. Now, I believe off camera, as I said I would do, I have come up with a solution. So I'll very quickly go through the solution now. It isn't the most elegant, I will admit that, but it does seem to work, so that's the primary thing for me. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a station out here, perhaps like so. Obviously we're going to connect it with a road connection, and I'll quickly do that before I forget, because otherwise I will forget. We'll have an electrified tram track. I'm not sure we'll have trams running down here, but we may as well give ourselves the option just in case. And then we'll just connect this in to the existing road network here, if I can ever click on the right thing. Like so, that's not too bad. And basically what we're going to do is take our track along the rear of these houses here. Again, if I could click the right thing to make the process a whole lot better. And I kind of want it to run at the same plane as the houses, the same level as... Oh my god. Things are not going well here today, as we can tell. It's going to be one of those episodes again, I think, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, I wanted to run it kind of level with the height of the houses here. And I think that's roughly level. I mean, obviously we'll have to do a bit of terrain modification and balance out this little dip here, but that won't be a problem. And then all we're going to do is we're going to have to do a bit of a turn here over the road. So it's got a bit of a wiggle in it, well that's okay. And then essentially all we're going to do is run down here and then connect into this line just here. We'll get rid of that signal. And we want to make sure we have a decent overlap on our junction, which we do there. And then connect in like so. So our trains will be coming down this way. On this track we're on the correct side. However, as we're coming out of the station from Calgary, we're gonna have to have a crossover so we can access this line here. Now, when I was doing the testing, I was able to get a pretty decent bridge crossover, and it looks like we've achieved it again. So we're going to put that there. That way they can come off platform, cross over, head over to Northwest Calgary Station, pick up, and then they're going to come back into Calgary Central. So what we're going to do is take the line that we set up last time. After Calgary, platform number 1, which is this one here, we're going to add a station, and this should work. Yes. So we're going into Northwest Calgary Sidings. We'll obviously change the name of that in a moment. And then after that, we're not going to Southeast Calgary. We're actually going to stop back off at Calgary Central. Platform 1, yes. I think platform 2 would be better for heading out that way. And platform 1 there. Yes, that'll work. So now we have a connection for our trains into Northwest Calgary. And if you remember the almighty ordeal I had in the previous episode, the simple solution, well, the solution was simple. And it's fairly elegant. And we have that little train line effect running behind the residential houses, which you do see fairly regularly, at least you do here in the UK. So it does fit in, and we could do a bit of asset work along here, perhaps put in a fence line alongside the track, because obviously you wouldn't have free access, you know, from their backyard onto the train line. That's just a recipe for disaster. But we can do that in a future episode, I think. For now, what we're going to do, now that we've successfully got that set up, and as I said, it really wasn't that difficult once I put my mind to it. I was just having a bit of a nightmare last time around, clearly. And then what we're going to do is we're going to run a line out towards northeast Calgary. And this is just going to branch off from this point here. Follow the road between northwest and northeast Calgary, and then we'll put the station just on this corner here. Just like so. Perfect. And then all we're going to have between northeast Calgary and northwest Calgary is just a back and forth little shuttle service. It won't be connected to the main Dart line, so the passengers from northeast Calgary will have to change at northwest Calgary, but that's okay. Now we're obviously going to want a signal protecting the junction just there. That way the shuttle train can get to here and wait for any Dart trains that may be in and out and making their way through. And we'll also want a similar setup there to protect this junction here. So our Calgary main line, which runs down here, can be hopefully have priority over our Dart line, which I don't mind waiting, because the Calgary main line is going to be the primary money earner out of the two, at least in theory. So there we go, that's to one extent or another the 4 districts of Calgary now all connected. However, as you can see at the stations here, while we do have a little bit of connection, it's not a full connection. So we do have some passenger generation, but it could be a lot better, obviously. So what we'll do now is, in fact we will have a tram system out here, why not? So we'll just upgrade these roads, put in a Tram Loop connection that runs all around northwest Calgary, so we can get our passengers in and out of the station, and that should see extra passenger generation. So we'll want to connect up to there. How steep is that? Oh god, that's terrifyingly steep. Did not realise it was that bad, but what we can do is actually delete this road because nothing's built on it. And that way we have a longer run up to connect in, and it shouldn't be quite as bad, although it is still pretty bad, let's be honest. Okay, so we might have to snake this down a bit, but that's okay. So that's still quite aggressive. I think if we snake down from here, we should be able to get down and make it look at least somewhat reasonable. Or alternatively, again there's nothing out here, so we can demolish these streets here. We could just come off like this and then down like so, and that's give us a much more gradual climb down to the station. Yes, that's okay. And then can we get in to there? In fact, we'll just use a small street for this. How is that gonna look? It's pretty steep, isn't it, from there? Okay, let's... How does that look? It is quite aggressive, but it's also quite short, so they're over it pretty quickly. So I think, yeah, we'll go with that. And then all we have to do is upgrade the existing roads up here. There we go. And then we can have a very simple bi-directional, clockwise, counterclockwise tram loop system for northwest Calgary, which we'll put the stops down for right now. In fact, we're better off bringing the tram up here. There's more buildings up here for them to stop and serve, so what we'll do that instead, just like that. And then we'll hit the industrial sector, which sits proudly up on the hill. and then the commercial sector, and then we're going to head back down to the station. So let's quickly put down a tram depot for all of this, and this can sit up here. It's out of the way, it's not going to bother the residents. So we'll put it there, connect it into a street, with a street I should say. That way, as you know, we can get rid of the traffic lights when they start to appear later on, and that's going to help with any congestion that may start to develop. So I'll quickly get these two lines put in. It's going to be a simple clockwise and counterclockwise system. Okay, there we go. So we have Metro Northwest Calgary 01, which is the blue line, Metro Northwest Calgary 02, which is the yellow line. So now all that remains to do is to purchase the trams, and we'll go with the San Diego electric trolleys. And I think we'll just have 6 for now, so that's going to be 3 per line. And then we can get them assigned and underway. There we go, absolutely perfect. We're also going to want a transport link for Northeast Calgary as well to get people in and out of the station, because again, while we have some catchment down here, we're obviously missing out on all this potential catchment up here. So let's give them a way to get down here as well, and here we'll just go with a box standard bus system for now. We can always upgrade to Metro later on if we want to, but just to get the ball rolling, a simple bus service will be fine. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a loop connection in like so. No tram line please. There we go. So the buses can come in this way, turn around there, and then start heading back in towards town. Obviously stopping at the station on their way like so. And then we shall just route the buses up like this. They can do a loop here to get them to head back. We'll double up that stop there, double up that stop there, and then obviously they'll use this loop here to turn around and restart. So now let's quickly set this one up. There we go, perfect. It's done exactly what I'd hoped it would do without me having to intervene in any way. So we can name this up and get some buses purchased. We have a depot up here already, so we can use that one. That's not a depot, that's a truck station. That's a depot, that's what we'll use. There we go, we've got bus service Northeast Calgary 01. Let's get a handful of buses to run this line for us. Again, sticking with the Mac, it's the best we have available to us at the time being, and I think 4 is going to be enough for the time being. Obviously we can purchase more later on if required. Now the only thing we don't have set up here is a shuttle service between Northwest Calgary and Northeast Calgary. So we can take care of that right now. Now I'm just thinking, would there be a way for the train to access this line? And I don't think there will, not from our existing depots. So what I might do is just temporarily stick a depot down out here, just alongside the road's edge there. Connect it in nice and easy, and we'll just use this depot to purchase the trains for this line. But first we want to set the line up. I know it's not technically intercity because these are both parts of Calgary, but to fit with the convention we shall call it the in-city shuttle, and this is Northwest Northeast Calgary. Then we can get a small train for this one, so I think I'm going to go with the Mogul for this, and then get the passenger wagons. Again, we can go with a passenger car with clear story because it's small and cheap, and that's all we need on this line, to be honest. We don't need anything more than that. Let's colour it white and put it on the line. There we go, so now we have the shuttle service connected up as well. Obviously it is sharing a platform with the Dart service, but that's okay. We have our first passengers being generated in Northeast Calgary on the bus system, which is brilliant. And what I'm going to do is just rename Smith Street to Station Street. Just so on the passenger overview at the stops, I know if they're heading to the station or not. So nobody's heading to the station yet, it seems, but that's okay. I'm sure they'll start to do so once the train starts to make a few stops. We'll do the same here with these streets. We'll change William Street to Station Street. Obviously, calling it Station Street, as I said, it means when you hover over your passenger icon at each stop, you can see where they're heading to, and as you can see here, this passenger will be heading to the station more than likely. Now, there obviously is a chance that they could be going to one of these residential buildings instead, but it's a good bet to say that they will be heading to our newly minted train station. Okay, so now that we've got all that connectivity set up, what shall we focus on next? Now, I was thinking about tweaking all the lines for the brick delivery, bread delivery and so forth. However, I think I might take a bit of time now and just do some terrain modification and some assets work and some detailing and some beautification work, just as something a little bit different, because obviously right now everything's just stuck down in fields of grass, which, while pretty in its own right, it's not very lifelike. So by adding a few manually placed buildings in and around our stations, kind of like I did off camera here, just makes it look a bit more normal, natural and realistic, and it also brings it alive as well. It makes the station feel like a bustling hive of activity, which obviously in reality it certainly would be. So I think that's what we shall do next. So to that end, I believe we'll start over here. This is northeast Calgary. It's still called upper northeast Calgary. It shouldn't be, it's just northeast Calgary, let's be honest. And what we'll do is we'll get rid of this grassy area here out front of the station, replace it with the same sort of asphalt texture, yeah, that's the word, that we have outside the station. So it looks like one whole structure has been laid down, keep it level with the side of the platforms, and if we just put a little walled off fenced area there and on this side as well, and then we can also put a fence that runs alongside the track here all the way down this connecting road, and as I said, we'll run it along the back of the houses over in northwest Calgary here, and then we'll go for a similar sort of setup here as well. As we can see, this looks a bit odd there, where, you know, the passengers will see with this lady here, Alexandra Mitchell, they tend to levitate down this rather steep slope. As we can see, it's not the best, but if we're not paying too much attention to it, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. I think we'll just pretend it's not there, sort of thing. But for now, yeah, we'll go back to northeast Calgary and we'll make a start with the assets just over here. So we'll start with the paint tool, and we want asphalt, and we want to try and find the same one that blends in with the station. It's not that one, maybe this one. Yes, there it is, look. So we'll paint all this grass here, and if we just rotate the brush somewhat, try and get it, it doesn't look like a square edge as you can tell, but it's square enough that you can get a nice flush edge with the side of the end of the platform, and then just do similar sort of effect over here. There we go. Just get that little bit there. Just hold shift, any little patches that you can't quite get normally, it will paint over them as well. And I think we'll even do this central section here. We could maybe put a few buildings down in here to make it look a little bit more alive. So we'll get rid of that tree there and that little tree there, because they wouldn't be growing through the asphalt. And then, as I said, we get some fences or walls. Let's have a look what selections we have. I think perhaps this wall here would be quite nice. If we just rotate it so it would be flush with the side of the curb there, like so. And then we could run it down to there. And then to prevent people just missing the station, I know obviously in the game they will go through the station building, but in reality you'd have some chances who try and hop straight onto the platform there without purchasing a ticket. So if we put the wall along the front of the platform as well, that means they have no choice but to go through the building. Obviously that's just for effect, as I said in the game, you don't have ticket jumpers. But in reality, yeah, you'd always get the one or two, wouldn't you, who'd take the opportunity to avoid paying the fare and just jump straight onto the platform. Yes, I got a ticket, honestly, Governor. But anyway, there we go. So we can box that in like that. That looks fine. And then what we'll do is along the side of the track here, we'll use a fence, and we'll take the fence all the way down to northwest Calgary. And I think this time a fence would be better than a wall. And I think perhaps this sort of fence would work quite nicely. So what we'll do is we'll start from, say, level with the brick wall there. And for now we can just run a nice straight fence like that. And then if we go on to curve mode, we can follow the curvature in the track. Just keep switching between curve and line where applicable. So for now we can just go for a straight line fence. Yes, the track is curving as we can see, but it's not a drastically sharp curve, and I think a straight line fence will suffice for all the way down here. Perhaps go to curve on this bit, then we'll just curve it around like so, and then we'll bring it just to the edge of the ballast, just like this, and then back to curve for that little bit there, just to, as I said, try and follow the track as best we can. And then we'll end it there, and we'll pick it back up after the crossroads as our little shuttle train just passes over the level crossing there. Looks very nice in the gleaming white livery. Obviously it's not going to stay that way for long because we haven't increased the maintenance. That's something we'll probably do later on. For now it's going to be fine as is. So now we'll just pick the fence up as I said, and again we'll try and stay level with the ballast here, and we'll run it along the rear of all these houses. And again, that's just for safety and protection for the residents. We wouldn't want them to stumble onto the tracks, of course. And then we could just finish it off against the platform like so. There we go, that looks better. Just keeps people off the tracks and whatnot, and it also adds that element of realism to it all. And then what we'll do here, we'll do a similar sort of thing we did in northeast Calgary with the walls, just to block off the station area, and then again we'll paint over the grass with the asphalt just to blend it in with the front of the station as well. So let's get the wall tool back, and shall we try a different wall this time just for something a bit different, just to mix it up a little bit so it doesn't all look the same across the map. I think that wall looks fairly nice. And I think we'll bring that one to there like so. And then again we'll do the same down here and just cordon this area off as well. Again, obviously, like we said, in reality it doesn't, in the game it doesn't make a difference, but in reality you would have some sort of security feature here to prevent people from just wandering onto the platform at will. Now for the asphalt, I think having asphalt down here is going to look a bit odd because it's quite steep, so we'll try and keep it limited to the flat area. What we can also do first of all, just to give us some more area to work with, is get the smoothing tool, increase the strength and the size, and we've just buried our wall there, but that's okay, we can rebuild that. And just level it out just that little bit more. Yes, as we can see now, that this wall here looks ever so slightly bizarre. So if we just get rid of it like that. And in fact what I might do here is, rather than running back up to the roadside, because it is come up this rather steep embankment, is just have this wall come to the edge of the ballast here. Again, it mixes it up like I said, so not everything's the same across the map. And it should still look like it's doing what we want it to do, which is obviously add that element and level of security to the station. There we go. Yes, there is a gap, but I can live with that. So now we'll go back to the paint tool, we'll go back to the asphalt. I believe it was this one here. And if we just rotate it so we get that square edge again, it's square enough. And then bring it alongside here. There we go. That's a bit square with the platform there. And again, right, let's see where the... Just turn the brush size down. And we're going to try and avoid where the land is rising upwards. If we just have it sort of like that, I think that will do. There we go. That's not too bad. And then what we can do outside these two stations is we can put some benches down, a fountain, that sort of thing. A sort of focal point where people can come and gather and meet and relax and rest outside of the stations. Of course, we also need to change the name because this is not Northwest Calgary Sidings. It would just be Northwest Calgary, just like so. So let's go back to the assets now then. Now, there are fountains and such like somewhere. The question is, can I remember where they were? So this is all market stalls, as we can see. This is all construction, building area sort of materials, which we don't need for this. Again, it's not that. Oh, perhaps this is it here. Yes, so here's some benches we can pop down in, and we'll make a little seating area. You often do see that outside of a train station in reality. So we'll just try and replicate a bit of reality here like that. And then we could put some more down here as well, and we'll put some back to back. And then we could put a little building out here, like a little food court or a little restaurant sort of thing. You always have a restaurant by a train station or a little news agent, that sort of thing. Now, I do believe in here as well, we do have... No, it's not the fountains in there, and it won't be in there. Just give me a moment to find them. They are somewhere. Ah, here we go. Miscellaneous items. Oh, yes, we could have a trash bin. You would have your waste bins near your benches and stuff, so people can dispose of their rubbish. There we go. A little kiosk. Looks quite nice. Not sure if that's an information kiosk. Looks more like an information, town information sort of thing. And again, you would likely find one of those outside of a station. Guardrail, no, we don't want hydrants. Fountains, that's what I'm looking for. So we could have a fountain there, and we could put one just on the opposite side as well. And then if we can find a nice sort of shop sort of thing out here, we could have a pub. And I think having the railway pub makes the most sense, given where it's going to be serving, a railway, or at least a station. And we could put that just, I'm going to say put it just there. Now obviously that's overridden some of the grass with a different texture, so we can undo that manually with the asphalt once again and holding shift. And it will just override the terrain that it used with our own. Just to, like I said, blend it in so it looks like one complete unit. And then over here we just want the grass. If I could spell grass, it would be a lot better. There we go, just like that. So we've got a nice little pub just outside the station there. Quite pleasant indeed. Put a few benches down as well. Just like so. Perhaps a different style of bench, or do we have a little table? We could put a cab outside the pub. I mean, I don't know if we want to, but we could do. And now we can put down some people as well. However, the problem with these ones is they are era dependent and you cannot change them. So I'm trying to find some that would blend in with all of the eras. For example, this chap here, he does look... I suppose it's supposed to be a lady, but this, yeah, does look quite modern. And obviously we are not in the modern era. Same with this taxi driver here. The chauffeur, he can go here. Just lurking outside the pub there. Oh, he looks like he would blend in as well. Just a couple of gentlemen outside. Now we can also use these ones here. We could have a guard sitting red. And I think if I put that there, it will look like he's sat on the bench. Yes, it does. So then we can do a few more on these benches here as well, just to bring it all to life. And then have one of his friends just standing with him there. I think we could have a policeman just outside the station. That wouldn't look too unnatural. And a train guard as well. And then we can put a few more people just sitting down here. I don't know if the policeman would be sitting and taking a break, but why not? And we'll just fill up some of these benches. You don't want to completely fill them up though, just enough to make it look alive. There we go. Just like so. Now, is there anything else that we could put outside this station just to, again, just to bring it alive a little bit? Let's see what we've got here. A newsagents. I think a newsagents would go quite well. Where's the front? There it is. So if we just put a newsagents just there, like so. Yep, that's fine. What else do we have over here? A chemist, perhaps? Perhaps we'll put the chemist just upon the side of the road here. And then we can put a bank stroke building society and a Greg's, so everybody can go and get themselves a nice sausage roll before they head on the train. Again, as we can see, it's overridden our asphalt there, but we can do what we did last time and just manually override it ourselves, just with a bit of holding shift down and painting over it, and it just keeps it all blended in to the aesthetic that we're aiming to achieve here. Right, let's go ahead and put a few more benches down on this side then. We don't have anything over here yet. Perhaps just around the fountain would be quite pleasant. They're not all lined up and even, but you know, as you're just glancing past on the map, it doesn't look too bad, I don't think. And we'll put some benches over here around this fountain as well. Just have the two there, I think. Let's see what else we can put down. A toilet block, although it does look a little too modern, I think. As does the underground. Department store's probably a little bit too big for out here, let's be honest. We don't want something, we don't want to go overkill with it. Just have one last quick look through here. I don't think there's anything else that I could say is missing. Ooh, a lamp. Put a few lamps out here. Just like that. And there we go. It just brings the front of the station to life a little bit more. Makes it feel like a living, breathing world. Especially with the people sitting down on the benches, milling about outside the station and outside the pub and whatnot. Just adds that little extra dimension to it all. I think the fence line along the track adds the most to it all, if I'm honest. Because that's definitely something you would see in reality. Especially when you're running against the backside of some residential houses here. You would have that fence line just to provide that security and safety, not only to the train line itself, but obviously to the residents nearby. While the while the train is here, we can check the finances, and as we can see, it's not doing too badly. Not doing too badly indeed. We're getting a lot of passenger uptake, and in fact, we're not even clearing the station platforms at this point, so we might want to think about either extending our trains or adding a third train onto this service. In terms of our little shuttle train then, not quite as financially viable yet, but as we can see here, we've got a fair few passengers on there. Hopefully we'll start to get more. I mean, we've got 10 waiting back up at northwest Calgary there. Northeast, sorry. I always forget which way around I'm looking. So yes, a little bit of detailing there just to end the episode off on something a little bit different, because I tend to do that sort of stuff off camera. But I did have a request from Peter A to include some of it in a future episode, so there you go. If you'd like to see more of that sort of stuff, perhaps even a whole episode detailing and dedicated to it, where we take our time and really get into it, then please let me know. I am conscious that perhaps watching detailing is not everybody's cup of tea, so do let me know in the comments below if you enjoy the detailing side of it, or if it's something you'd prefer to see glossed over and done off camera, or perhaps try and find a little bit of a balance between the two options. But for now, I think, as I said, we'll think about wrapping it up here now. We've managed to get Northwest Calgary connected after the shenanigans of the previous attempt. We've got the train lines running, and obviously we've got some metros and bus lines running to get the passengers in and around as well. And we've done a little bit of detailing as well. I am tempted to do this off camera, but I will wait to see the feedback first, and if it is something people would like to see a little bit more of, then I will save this area for a future episode, and we'll just leave this blank template as is for the time being. So all that remains for me to say is I hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you have done so, please leave a thumbs up down below. As I said, if you have any thoughts on the detailing, if you'd like to see more, or the thoughts on the series in general, go ahead and leave a comment down below. And as always, if you would like to request a train be named after you, or you want to name a train, it doesn't have to be your name. If you think of any sort of name, Trainy McTrainface, then again leave that in the comments below and I'll get to that as soon as I can. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, all that remains for me to say is take very good care of yourselves as always. Ta-ta for now.